Podquest.
Shout out to all my fellow Canadians. Lance Stroll got his first career pole position, and it was the first pole position by a Canadian since like 1997, which is pretty fucked. And so like we get to the race, and he had a fucking booming start, Lance, and then he did a good job holding over the race, and then the midfield was really interesting to seeing like how people were trying to figure out like what the fuck to do with this weather, and then what tires they should be on, and trying to figure out what the best strategy was. I'm not going to bore everybody, but it did ultimately result in Lance and his team making a bit of a bad call. Oof. And Lewis Hamilton swooped in and did that thing he always does, which is win the race.
Well, you talked about him before, right?
Yeah, he also sealed his 7th world championship and his 4th in a row, which ties Michael Schumacher's record for total world championships. And he did it in pretty spectacular fashion because his tires were absolutely busted by the end. But also, it's like, man, he always wins.
Was it like the end of Speed Racer, the live action movie, where like his tires are melting at the end of the?
Basically, he was using a tire that was made for when the track is wet, and it was so worn down that it had become effective, similar in the way that the slick tires are, which they use when the track is dry.
Eesh.
Like it was like him and some other drivers had worn it down to the point where the tires were so old they were getting better because they could no longer deflect water, so it was finding grip on dry parts of the track.
Wow.
Yeah, it was truly busted. And I think it was worth getting up early, if nothing else. So I'm here and I'm tired, but I feel vindicated.
So your Canadian boy who like had a good start, did he just like, what's his name?
His name's Lance.
Lance. Did Lance just like hold down the right button combination to get that boost at the go, like in Mortal? Like in Mario
Kombat,
like in Motor Kombat. I think it's in Motor Kombat.
Yeah,
also.
I think what it came down to is reaction time, and I guess he had his tires in a good spot temperature wise because he fucking flew off the line, and he held it down for a good like 30 laps or something. And then there's another driver, Alex Albon, who probably could have sewn that race up had he not spun without any like a completely unforced error. As far as I could tell, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody can correct me if they feel like it.
Maybe he hit a banana peel.
Maybe he hit a banana. We can't rule it out. The track was wet as hell. Maybe it was like banana slick. Banana Slick sounds like the name of an 80s rapper who would try to teach kids things.
Yeah, Banana Slick might be the most uncomfortable I've ever been with something that you've said.
Banana Slick is when the Chiquita Banana Company, whoever makes those, is it just Chiquita Bananas? Who makes those?
I think nature makes them.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean, though. Who sells those? Anyway, it was their attempt to be hip. Sort of like the California Raisins, but his name is Banana Slick.
He's got like a leather jacket and sunglasses on, and
yeah, it's like Mac Tonight and the California Raisins.
I can picture it. This is bad in terms of like an actual marketing campaign, but probably in line with the California Raisins and Mac Tonight.
Here's the thing, though: both of those were amazing ideas.
Oh, I was a huge. I was a huge
Mac Tonight fan.
Actually, I was going to say California Raisins fan as a kid, but you know what? Yeah, Mac Tonight also. I had the McDonald's toys of him like on the motorcycle and on the skateboard.
Yeah, I was not old enough to experience Mac Tonight, but I have retroactively. Huge fan.
This is going to blow your mind. Probably
Hit
not.
Me.
In Orlando,
I'm easily amused.
In Orlando, there is, I don't know if it's still true, but it was certainly true for a long time. It probably still is, the world's largest McDonald's.
Oh, really?
Weird. As like a touristy thing. And it was like a McDonald's, but if I'm remembering correctly, they also sold like other food, like not typical McDonald's menu shit.
They sold apparel that you could eat.
They had like an arcade section in it. They probably still do. I haven't been in a long time, but
it's just a bunch of GameCubes rigged up to those weird play place things.
Right. But they had an animatronic Mac Tonight.
Oh no.
Playing piano.
Oh no.
Like far.
But also yes, I love that. But no.
Far longer than the Mac Tonight advertising shit went on. Like into like it was. I probably saw this in like 2001. It was still there.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that, actually.
Yeah, and I remember going there and going inside and seeing it and being like, oh, that's right. I remember Mac Tonight. I haven't thought about him in a decade.
Yeah, what a fun throwback. Do you think inside the Mac Tonight animatronic was just a real guy who had to play piano all day?
If it was a real person in there, it was the most amazing. It must have been Andy Serkis in there because the robotic movements were so perfect.
That's funny because I like how you went actor. I was about to say, who's the world's greatest pianist?
It was Elton John.
It was Yo Ma. He doesn't play piano, does he?
I don't know.
Does he? It was Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Kiko Matsui moonlights on the weekends as the Mac Tonight piano player at the
Quick, name all musicians.
at the world's largest McDonald's.
One of them is bound to be right.
All right, let's talk about because fuck segways.
Segways are for people who don't want to buy a car. That was bad.
Shit, we had a we had a way in, right?
Hang on, let me figure it out.
Because the episode's called Undying Dream.
Who died?
No, nobody died, but your boy lost. Your boy lost the race.
Right. Well,
we're not going to reverse engineer it very well.
Let me try.
Okay.
So, everybody's got dreams. Am I right? Gamers.
Gamers.
So...
That's right, gamers. Our target audience. Crack open that Mountain Dew game fuel and strap in for another episode of MK Podquest.
So, hey, you know what? This bit's fucking dead. I don't know where I'm taking this. You can keep that in if you want. I don't fucking know. I don't have an exit strategy.
All right, gamers. Today we're talking about...
Greetings, gamers. Do you want to get lost in a cave? Undying Dream.
Mortal Kombat Conquest.
There's your segue. Fuck you.
Mortal Kombat Conquest, Episode 8, Undying Dream.
Brought to you by Doritos. Y'all ever heard about this Mortal Kombat thing?
Episode 8, Undying Dream, directed by Rick Jacobson. He's got all the hits on his IMDb. No new Pacific Blue connections in this episode from what I was able to find.
Then I don't care. Cancel, end the show. We're done.
But Rick Jacobson has done Baywatch. He's done Xena. He did You ever hear the show Cleopatra 2525?
Yes, but I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, it stars
Cleopatra.
Gina Torres is the big name. She went on to be in
Why do I know who that is?
Firefly, Serenity.
Haven't seen that. Do I know her from something else?
Oh, she was Cass in the Matrix movies. She was the Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, the one with the...
I don't think I know who that is.
Oh, she's been in Westworld, the new Westworld series. She's in a lot of stuff.
I probably just heard it somewhere. Yeah, whatever.
Final Space, Star Wars Rebels, whatever. She's not a part of Mortal Kombat Conquest, so I don't need to go too in depth with them.
So who cares?
But Cleopatra 2525. Let me read you the show description of this 28 episode 2000 genre television show. An exotic dancer cryogenically frozen in the year 2001 is accidentally thawed out in 2525 by two female warriors who are fighting against evil robots which have taken over the world. That's a show called Cleopatra 2525.
What the fuck?
Where starring Gina Torres.
Why?
Because
how did that get made? How did that pitch successfully get made is what I want to know. Because that's a really crazy pitch.
Yeah, well, it worked. So Rick Jacobson, who directed this episode of Mortal Kombat Conquest, also directed about 6 episodes of Cleopatra 2525. Our episode writer for Undying Dream is Carl Ellsworth, who also wrote 4 episodes of Cleopatra 2525, also wrote for Xena, also wrote for Animorphs, also wrote The Last House on the Left 2009 remake screenplay,
which I'm sure I'll inevitably see.
The 2012 Red Dawn screenplay,
which I'm sure I'll inevitably see.
And the announced Gremlins 3 screenplay,
which I'm sure I will inevitably see. So they've been around.
Yeah. Oh, Rick Jacobson also worked on Ash vs. Evil Dead as a director. So
okay, every time you're about to say Rick Jacobson, I feel like you're gonna say Rick James, and I don't know why. Like I keep reflexively recoiling at the fact that you're about to say Rick James, and then you don't say Rick James.
Yeah, so that's what those guys are up to and what they're known for. 2 boys writing a TV show about Mortal Kombat, writing and directing. Whatever.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So
that's my undying dream.
Corey, should we go over to the Corey corner for a recap?
Oh yeah, we have a sounder for that now. Welcome to the Corey Corner. So this episode, we have Taja immediately kidnapped, and I know what you're thinking. Oh boy, they're going to sideline her again. How dare they? But in fact, we've got a lot of Taja this episode. She is kidnapped and sent to Outworld, another dastardly plot from Shang and Vorpax, and they want to use her as leverage to get Kung Lao to come to Outworld to save her, and, then Shang Tsung could try to cut a deal with the Emperor. Kung Lao's going to die. He gets his freedom, yada, yada, yada. You've seen Mortal Kombat, Conquest, you know the deal. But so while the boys are trying to get to Outworld to help her, or try to find where she is, rather, we get some insight into Vorpax, who has a weird back and forth where she wants to help Taja. She's empathetic to her situation. We get a lot more insight into Vorpax sort of in the context in which, or the circumstances she's in, why she's doing what she's doing, why she's cooperating with Shang, and sort of a back and forth with that. And it culminates in Siro and Kung Lao going to Outworld to try to save Taja, and we got some cool fights and stuff. And through a clever ruse, Taja helps everybody get out. And, we've learned life lessons along the way, as we often do. Like, in this case, what people will do in extreme situations to make sure they don't get murdered by a sorcerer.
Yeah, that's about it.
And there's a weird bocce ball-esque gambling game.
I think it's also important to note that Taja's whole motivation is trying to find her father, who she has been told is being held captive in the mines.
Yeah, that's who kidnaps her. Well, at least the image of him. We don't know for sure. It's very unclear.
We get some clues, though, that develop Taja's character a bit more, which is, as we've noted in recent episodes, she's been sidelined pretty hard. So it's good to flesh out her character a little bit.
Yeah, totally. It's been nice to get some more of that. And we get a lot of Vorpax, too, which is something that I'm never going to say no to, because, she continues to be the most interesting character on the show, and the most interestingly portrayed. Tracy Douglas is having the time of her fucking life. Yeah. And that makes it fun.
Yeah, she's, shifting gears like a...
she's all over the place. It's awesome.
Shifting gears like an F1 racer.
Hell yeah, brother. Love to call them F1 racers.
What's the proper term? Drivers?
Drivers. Some people use pilots.
Okay, she's shifting gears like an F1 pilot.
There you go. Sure. I'll take it.
Okay. Just trying to make sure you feel included.
I'm not an expert. I just got here in the grand scheme of things.
All right.
That's my undying dream.
All right. So, So at the beginning of the episode,
insta-kidnapping.
Taja's out. She's buying some stuff in sacks at night in the bazaar, and she turns around and she sees someone and she's like, "Daddy?" And then she follows this person into an alley and she's like, "Yes, you are. You're my daddy. Where have you been?" And they hug, and then a portal opens and she's sucked into the Cobalt Mines in Outworld.
Not a good place to be.
The Cobalt Mines of Shokan within Outworld.
Shokan?
It depends. It's a
regional pronunciation.
It's a regional pronunciation.
Were you about to say exactly that? Oh my god.
I was. The reason I lean towards Shokan is because
it sounds like Coke can, and you love drinking energy Coke cherry zero sugar energy drink for energy.
Because when I say Shokan, it sounds like I'm saying Shao Kahn because of my mumble mouth. So I was erring on the side of deliberately making sure you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But we'll go with the Coke can thing. I like that.
I'm all about world building, and if this show's going to have all this lore, we may as well also have some
mythologies.
So then, boom, she's in the mines. You hear sounds of people being tortured in the background, which feels very Mortal Kombat-y. We get a lot of Cobalt Mines in this one.
Yeah.
We get to see a lot more than just the one room we normally have to see where Shang Tsung hangs out.
There's at least 2 or 3 other discrete rooms. They're visually distinct.
Yeah, so right there, boom, Vorpax is there to receive Taja. And she's like, "You got another friend down here," and Shang Tsung enters.
Shang Tsung enters like he just saunters out from the shadows.
Yeah, he's very...
Like he's trying to plan a grand entrance. It's kind of dorky, honestly, and I like it.
My note is Shang Tsung is here looking real Shang Tsung-y.
Yeah, I had LMFAO. The Shang reveal is so funny. Why did he have to watch? Where is he walking from?
Well, there's there might be a plot reason. I mean, it's later implied that the person Taja thought was her daddy might have been Shang Tsung using her dad's image. So maybe, he had to get off screen and change clothes.
And then later we get a Force ghost of Taja.
Yeah.
Who has Bruce Locke voice.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that and not Shang Tsung voice. I don't. That's how he talks.
I was kind of into that.
Yeah, it was neat. But first we get a really fun exchange where Taja's trying to figure out the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, what happens there?
Taja's trying to get her bearings, like, yo, where am I? And she gets the rundown. You're in Outworld. Keep up. And, you never seen Outworld before? Come on. And, she's like, yeah? You good?
Yeah, I got it. I do have notes on this. Okay.
And, Taja's like, oh, who are you? Like, Shang Tsung's whore, and Vorpax is like, why, are you looking for a job? And it's like, oh, fuck!
Yes.
Fucking got him, dude!
Ooh. Right, and
just
then...
absolutely ethered.
And then Vorpax is like, oh, yeah, no, your dad is down here. I know him well.
Maybe?
She's like, I met a man who was brought here after a slave raid, and he was so broken up that he couldn't see his daughter. Taja, what a unique name. Right? And then she says some shit about time working differently in the mines, like, oh, I could have seen him.
Wait, okay, hang on. We do have to unpack that slightly. What the fuck are they fucking talking about? Like, what does she mean by that? Oh, like, I don't know if it's been 10 minutes or, like, a year. Like, have they established that time works weird? What the fuck?
Yeah, that feels to me a little bit like they're messing with her. Or it's just that kind of thing, like when you're...
It's really confusing to, like, try to parse.
It could be the thing where, like, when you're locked up, like they say, if you lose your concept of time and you really don't know how much time has passed, or...
Do you mean locked up, like, in jail?
Yeah,
okay.
or perhaps in a as slave labor in a mine in that world.
Who hasn't been there before?
Yeah, I don't think it's actually literally like Inception style. 1 second in the real world is a year in here or whatever.
In the Cobalt Mines.
In the Cobalt Mines, or I guess
because when they started talking about weird time shit, and you see that dust on her hand. That appears to be like aging her weird. I was like, is she able to get reverse turbo Benjamin buttoned again?
Yeah, my note says apparently if you're in here long enough, some weird shit happens to your hand.
Like, this is episode 8, and I thought they were about to do the same gimmick for a second time.
Well, I think they're playing games with her a little bit. Like we do sort of discover the truth to a degree about Vorpax in this, but I do think it's this might all just be like theatricality, like fucking with her.
I mean, we certainly get more insight, right? Like,
we do. So anyway, yeah, that's the plan. She's the cheese in the trap to bait Kung Lao to come into the Cobalt Mines, and she's like, "Fuck that, I'm out of here," and she runs off.
Which they made remarkably easy, all things considered.
Right, and there's this big guy who's listed as burly prisoner in the IMDb credits. And so picture a burly prisoner, you got it. And
whatever you're picturing is correct.
And Shang Tsung's like, go get her, don't kill her, but whatever else you do to her is fine, which is gross, because the implication there is...
not good.
The bad thing that Shang Tsung likes to do, apparently. And every other man in this show.
Yeah, unless you're fucking a protagonist.
Right. And even then, you just kind of talk about doing it.
Yeah, and even then, you just sort of let it slide or talk about it, which is still bad. Still don't do that.
Yeah, so that's the beginning of the episode. We're going to cut right over to the trading post where it's morning and Kung Lao...
They don't wake up to birds chirping in Zhuzhen. They wake up to weird mystical noises.
Yeah, Kung Lao and Siro are trying to have their morning tea together, right? Because...
this episode has so many parts where my note is just, I want them to kiss, or yeah, they're gay. Like, they're really nailing it, and I love it a lot.
Yeah. Siro's dressed up. He's got his church shirt on, he's got his sleeves. And they hear a weird noise. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just like
it's a mystical sound.
A mystical chiming or a mystical humming. And
It's
they
a
go,
fantasy portal sound for astral projection.
there it is. And they open the door to the trading post, and it's Force Ghost of Taja, as you put it. And she's speaking with Shang Tsung's voice, and he's like,
Come get her, fuckers.
North Alley, portal, nighttime, your life for hers, I think.
Parking lot after school.
So they're
trying to have a fucking street fight.
right. So then they're like back and forth. Oh, is this for real? Is it a trick? We don't know. He may not actually have Taja. Where is Taja? We're bad friends, and we don't know anything about.
We don't know
Taja's
anything about our
life.
friend, and we're gonna show our ass for like 20 entire minutes where we learn everything about our friend's life that we know nothing about.
We know nothing about. So
It's the audacity of this program to be like, man, these guys are idiots for not knowing anything about Taja's life that we refuse to show you on screen.
So
The
now-
audacity.
So now we're gonna get into the back and forth, the Taja, what's happening to Taja in the mines, and what's happening to the boys in Zhuzhen looking for Taja. And I think we should just go through all of the Taja stuff since it's all happening concurrently, right?
Right.
So we're back in the mines, and Taja is running from the burly prisoner, who's just a real gross creep. And she gets in a fight with him, right? Like he's got her cornered in like a cave, and she cracks him in the head with a rock. I think it's a rock. And he's like, haha, that doesn't mean anything to me. And then she like lays the beat down. I mean, this guy's like what, 300 pounds or something?
He's gigantic.
And like
he's a very big dude.
He's a burly prisoner.
He's the burly prisoner.
And she starts fighting him, and she's
kicking a
whooping
lot.
ass. We haven't gotten to see her have like a full-on fight in quite a while.
She is, but also they're very much making a point that like he is not phased
Yeah, but
by the kicks.
She's hitting him enough, right?
She hits him a lot, and then somebody comes in with something that I think is illegal in most fights, which is a big shovel.
She's doing jump kicks and high kicks and kicking him in the face and all kinds of shit. And she's holding her own, but at some point he turns the tables and he has her pinned down, and then he gets cracked over the head with a shovel.
By none other than everyone's favorite character, Vorpax.
Damn straight.
And you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
My favorite part was that it was just a fucking shovel. It was a shovel. It was like a shovel you could go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy today. It wasn't a fantasy shovel. You know, it was just a regular old scoop shovel.
Yeah, and then first of all, right as this happens, we get a commercial bumper that, without context, is one of the most fucking wacky, goofy things they've ever done, which is a man doing a kick while backflipping.
Oh, yeah.
And that happens twice. In this episode, there are two commercial bumpers. Both are for fights that we have not seen yet, in which somebody does a backflip-based kick. I just thought that was weird. But more importantly, Taja's like, hey, Vorpax, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you helping me? And we get more insight into what I initially wrote down as the Vorpax redemption arc before correcting myself in my own notes and realizing that Vorpax seems to mostly be a victim of circumstance and is doing the best with what she has available to her and is dealing with a lot of terrible people. So we get some insight into the fact that she's stuck here and is trying to do what she can to get out, and that may well mean helping Taja escape as well. But when necessary, it also means acting like she's still helping Shang.
Also, shout out to Tampa Bay area ska band Victims of Circumstance.
Yeah, everybody's favorite Tampa Bay area ska band.
They're really good. I'll send you some songs later.
Please. And we also get so early Vorpax in this episode is real fucking smarmy and like being like, oh, what? Like, you didn't think you were going to be an outworld? Blah, blah. Like, she's having a good time. But we're getting a much more sort of, I'm loath to use the word serious because that's such a plain adjective and doesn't really communicate anything. But we're getting a more serious take on Vorpax that we don't get a lot of.
Yeah.
Where we're sort of gradually getting into backstory and circumstantial issues and why she is stuck being in a terrible position. And Tracy Douglas is crushing these tonal transitions because she has a lot of them this episode.
Yeah, she's all over the place. I love when Taja's like, well, why would you help me? You're partners with Shang Tsung, and she's like, no, in case you haven't realized it, I'm his fucking slave down here, and he makes me do awful things. I want to get out of here. You're my best chance. You and your boys are my best chance of escaping here. We also got to remember that, was it back in the Essence we learned out that she's also, like, sworn allegiance to Shao Kahn?
Yeah, I think she's just playing all the angles. So we're getting a bit more of insight into why. Not that it wasn't obvious that Shang Tsung was up to some terrible shit, but later we get later or right now, maybe it might be later. I'm still trying to follow my notes here. They're a bit fucking convoluted, which is maybe my own fault. But she says that she ended up here through a combination of deception and self-deception. So like we're getting inklings into how Vorpax got into this position.
Right. Yeah, but for now she's trying to hide Taja from Shang Tsung until she knows what to do with the situation, right? So then she goes back to Shang Tsung, and this is the part where we see him just like kicking back and lounging.
Lounging Shang is what I saved that JPEG as.
Eating a tray of lizards.
Whatever the fuck he's eating. Eating something that barely looks like food.
He was biting the head off a lizard.
It looks like he's eating sticks.
It was a lizard, dude. You could see the arms and legs and everything. Like he's chomping down.
Couldn't.
He's chomping down on a lizard. We'll get a screenshot of it for you. But yeah, and what is she doing there? She's asking about the plans for Taja, right? For Kung Lao and Taja. Like, what are you gonna do when you get Kung Lao here? And he's like, well, I'm gonna give him to the Emperor, and the Emperor's gonna free me because now he has Kung Lao. And she's like, well, what are you gonna do with Taja? And he's like, oh, Taja's gonna become a plaything for the Emperor.
Yeah. Also, really quick, I have a note down here right after lounging Shang. I believe Vorpax says, interesting, these mortals, and I don't know why. I don't remember what she was talking about. All I have is that note.
Oh, that was in response to like Shang Tsung's like, Kung Lao is gonna come to save Taja, even though he knows it's gonna be the end for him. That's what she thinks is interesting. She's like, oh, it's interesting that these mortals would like give up their own lives to help each other or protect each other.
Right.
I do,
and this is more of the two sides of Vorpax. Like, you get them pretty back to back, so it's like, hey, I like that we're getting some clarity on how she's doing that.
It's also another hint to Vorpax's character, because she's, again, we've talked about it in the past, she presents as human, right? But like early on, she let us
evidently is not.
She let us know that she's actually like a strong warrior. We've seen her fight, and now she's referring to mortals as something different than what she is. So, yeah, they're just dropping more Vorpax hints there, right? Meanwhile, Taja's running around still down in
looking at some spooky Halloween store chains.
Yeah. And
see, that seems like as good a time as any to briefly talk about, like, the production design here, which is a weird mix of, like, genuinely effective and hilariously cheap looking. The Cobalt Mines do kind of feel like a big, goofy haunted house. Like, some of the stone stuff looks like it's made of painted styrofoam, and you've got like goofy skeletons stuck inside of walls, both animated or otherwise.
Yes,
and
we get to see that
genuinely
later.
feels like running around a haunted house, and that's just kind of it's a weird time, but it's good.
I love it. It feels like
there's lighting in this episode that I feel like is really good, but some of it feels really weird. Like there's a weird like hazy outline on certain scenes that I couldn't really put my finger on why it was there.
Right.
But like the blue of the Cobalt Mines, I mean, evidently it's a Cobalt mine, so like yeah. But you know, it's good.
I like
it's funny. It's fun.
When we see that wall later with the skeletons in it that are animated and moving around.
Oh my god. Some real haunted house shit.
But it feels Mortal Kombat to me, right? It feels like a background animation from like Mortal Kombat.
It's
2,
apropos for sure.
You know, they're really. Yeah. I feel like the Cobalt Mines and all of the Outworld stuff in general is like really capturing the vibe, like in a good way for the time. You know what I mean? Like obviously the way that the games present those kinds of things in the more recent ones is a little bit different and more realistic, but like the cheesy sort of haunted house nature like really reminds me of the early Mortal Kombat games. Even a lot of the stuff you see in like the 3D era when there's I don't know how to describe the art style in those games. It's not super realistic like the new ones. It's still a little bit, it still looks video gamey, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It captures the mood for me. It's what I'm here for. It reminds me of the live action movie towards the end when they're in Outworld and there's like the creepy monster statues and the bones laying around everywhere and stuff like that. I'm here for it.
Bones.
Yeah. So then, so Taja's still wandering around.
Do I make you bony, baby?
Didn't we do enough Austin Powers references on your Halloween 6 episode?
Never enough, dude. Never enough.
Everyone go listen to the Halloween 6 episode of They Made Another One.
If you plug, does that imply that you were going to keep that in?
We'll see how I'm feeling.
I love having no idea what stays and what gets taken out.
We'll see how I'm feeling when I'm editing.
Yeah.
All right, so Taja's running around the Cobalt Mines. She's obsessed with the idea that her dad is probably down here. She really, really wants to find her dad. But like at some point, Vorpax catches up with her and she's like, fucking told you to stay put. Taja's like, I don't care. If my dad's here, I need to find him, right? And that's when Vorpax gives her the whole spiel about how she got trapped in the mines through, in her words, deception and self-deception.
Right.
But she's not an animal. She's a woman. And Taja, like, high roads her for working with Shang Tsung.
Yeah, which is like, I feel like this episode has a lot of Taja not being able to see the forest from the trees, both with her dad.
She's not able to see the cobalt from the Cobalt Mines.
Yeah, and just like, I feel like it's pretty easy to understand why Vorpax is doing what she's doing, but yeah, Taja really just feels like being weirdly moralizing about it,
Right.
even though she's clearly in very exceptional circumstances. Like,
yeah, and Vorpax straight up tells her, like, hey, when your time comes to have to survive, you're going to surprise yourself with what you'll do.
right.
Which I think I think there's a callback to that later. But yeah, so they're still walking around the mines together now. Vorpax is trying to explain to her that, like, the mines are huge. And yes, your dad actually is here. We don't know if we believe Vorpax or not. She might just be selling Taja on a long con.
Yeah, and there are moments in the episode where you think maybe that is what she's doing.
Right.
Or at least the show would like you to think that. I think my personal belief is that Vorpax is being genuine the whole time, which is like she does have to do what she's doing, but I think that she does want to be helpful.
Right.
That's my personal feeling.
But we get some background on Taja's history, because like Vorpax keeps recounting all these details to her, and Taja's like, oh, you're just guessing, you just got lucky. And then she's like, oh wait, no, that's pretty specific. And Taja tells us the story of how her family, her mom and her dad and her younger sister, they were just sort of traveling around, and she uses the G word, which I'm not gonna repeat here.
She uses a fucking extremely uncool word.
It's not even like proper to like say like Romani, because that implies actual Earth culture. So we're gonna use...
it implies a specific group of actual people, which is not what they're trying to illustrate.
Yeah, it's nomadic. They were a nomadic family.
Right.
Yeah. And at some point, she like went away from her family's camp to go play some game, as she put it. And when she got back, her whole family was gone, and she didn't know if something happened to him.
She was told not to leave. It's her own fault because she was 12. But like,
yeah,
it was some dumb kid shit that had unexpected consequences.
Yeah, and she's like, did they abandon me here? I don't know. She had to like come to terms with the idea that her whole family was dead. And based on what we heard earlier in the episode, and what we saw in the last episode, actually, the Black Dragon guy, we know that people are coming to Earthrealm to steal slave labor for Outworld, right? And that's the implication about what happened to Taja's family, or at least to her dad. So he is banging around in the Cobalt Mines somewhere, but they have no idea where, because it's huge. It's a gigantic place.
There's 100 levels at least.
At least. And yeah. But that's Taja's story. As a kid, her whole family disappeared on her, and that's what made her turn to a life of being a thief. And also why she's so desperate to find her dad and like get answers and have a family back, right?
Right.
It's heartbreaking.
And part of the initial allure, seemingly, that she would have had towards like having a setup with the boys is like, hey, something that feels stable and normal. Yeah,
and they encounter a march, like a bunch of slaves are being marched from a higher level to replace workers down here who have died, because hundreds of people die down here every day. And Taja's like spying on it to see if she sees her dad among them. Of course she doesn't. There's hundreds of thousands of millions of people in these mines. And Yeah, then they're still walking around. Shang Tsung pops up and Vorpax very quickly grabs Taja and is like, I found her and I was bringing her to you.
Shit like that happens multiple times, and I
Yeah.
refuse to believe that Shang Tsung does not see this shit before he walks into frame. Especially the one where Taja is running away later, and Vorpax just goes, geez, I don't know where she is.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way he did not see that shit.
Yeah, she was just here. Right. So that's that. Now they're bringing Taja back to Shang Tsung's little area. And that's kind of all we get for now. I think we should check in with...
Meanwhile,
we should check in with the boys.
the boys are asking around town, trying to be like, hey, has anybody seen Taja? Maybe we can get a beat on where she is. This is largely because Kung Lao is like, this is clearly a trap.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Let's make sure she's actually there before we go. And Siro is like being his hot-headed self. Like, bro, we gotta go right now, and we gotta get there. We gotta kick the shit out of everybody until they're fucking dead. Let's fucking go. And Kung Lao's like, hold on. Slow down. Let's make sure that she's actually gone. Let's go everywhere she goes in a day. And then they realize they have no fucking idea where she goes in a day at all.
And then he goes, Siro, why don't you go into her room and search through all of her shit? Let's
Party
go and
foul.
Let's invade her privacy. And I'm just going to go out and talk and see if anyone's ever seen her today, right?
Also, notably, there's two things I'd like to note here. A, this is the first time I wrote the note, yeah, they're gay, because the tension that they're getting into, and they're so, like, in each other's faces. But also, Siro definitely says son of a bitch, and I didn't know they were allowed to use that on television.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, why hadn't they done it before, Neal?
They also, didn't he also use it? Didn't he also call either Kiri or Anka bitches?
He might have. Maybe I just forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, he calls them depraved bitches. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess Siro likes being really disrespectful to women, I guess.
So the boys go and do their searches and come back together, and Kung Lao's like, I didn't find anything. Nobody's seen her. And Ciro's like, I didn't find anything either. I found this. And he holds up this, like, gold ball with, like, how would you describe it?
It looks bedazzled.
But is it this bedazzled gold ball? And he's like...
Well, I'm saying bedazzled largely because the other balls that we see at the game are not jeweled in any sense. They're solid colors. So I'm comfortable using the word bedazzled.
Right. So he's like, this must have been important to her. She kept it with her jewelry. Real cool dude digging through her jewelry shit. Like, you were just supposed to look for, like, a calendar like a date book.
Exceptional circumstances. I get it. If I went completely missing, I hope people go through my shit to try to find me. But at the same time, I get the concern.
They could have, but here's the thing that they didn't do. They didn't call Raiden.
They also weren't good friends. Yeah, but they don't know if Raiden's going to show up or not.
They could have given it a try.
You can't guarantee Raiden's presence at any given time. Raiden does whatever the fuck Raiden feels like doing.
But if Kung Lao had been like, Dear Raiden, it's me, Kung Lao, your boy.
My dearest Raiden.
I'm worried about Taja. Can you give me some insight, please? I feel like he would respond to that. She may be being threatened by Shang Tsung.
Yeah, but I feel like Raiden could just as easily be like, you gotta figure this one out on your own, my man. Life has challenges.
Yeah, he could have, and then he would have given
hey,
him...
bada boom, bada bing.
He would have given him a lesson about how they don't really know her. And I guess they didn't really need to give him that lesson because they both are acknowledging we don't know shit about Taja. We are bad.
Friend.
We have been too obsessed with our own relationship that we are bad friends. Anyway, so what is it? Kung Lao recognizes the ball, or Siro, one of them recognizes it as a certain place in the bazaar that sells them. So they go to the bazaar to talk to the bikini lady, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I sold that to Taja. That's her favorite. Why do you guys have it? Why? I can't believe she trusted you with this thing."
And then they can barely explain. Like, they get so fucking flustered. They cannot articulate what has happened or who they are or anything.
Right. And this lady knows Taja well, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's
I do love that they run a big store now. Well, Taja does, and like, they're all known in town, but some people just don't know who they are.
Yeah. And not to mention Kung Lao, who saved the entire realm in Mortal Kombat, and they still don't know who he is.
Yeah, like I mean, you gotta have to do more than that. You have to win it, fucking whatever this game is called, bocce bowling or whatever.
It's called Bola Ball. It was a
Bowling ball.
Bola Ball for the game Bola, and this lady like rightfully shames them for not knowing Taja,
Yeah, for being shitty.
and then tells them where the game is. So they go check out the game, right? And the guy running the game.
Oh my god, this guy who says that they can't play is king of the show. He's the funny. He's like a New York bouncer.
He's like, I know you're looking for Taja. What's it to you? Yeah, she's a regular here. But I don't think you're here for her. I think you're here asking the wrong questions. And the last guy who asked the wrong questions about my game, they found him dead in the river.
Yeah, it's so good. That guy is like, he's like, hey, you guys don't want a problem with me. And the last guy that had a problem with me, like, hey, who are you guys? Hey, ho, hey. Like,
and then another guy overhears, and he's like, these guys asking about Taja, and I don't know any other way to describe this guy than as a hunk.
Totally. He's such a hunk that while he's talking about his girlfriend, other women are just touching him.
Yeah, his name, I don't know that they named him now, but he's named in the credits, and Siro drops his name at the end of the episode. This is Stefan, right?
I think they do name him then.
Okay, I missed it, but this is Stefan.
Yeah, because I have a note that says, great role, Stefan.
Played by James Hyde, who... he's been in a lot of stuff. Oh, he was on the Rush Hour television series. That's important.
The what?
Do you not know that there was a Rush Hour television series?
No.
Holy shit.
What the fuck?
One season in 2016.
In 2016? Excuse me?
13 episodes.
2016?
Yeah.
What? Is this like when they were rebooting Magnum PI and shit and Hawaii Five-0? And they did all TV shows again?
It was a little bit after, but yeah, I never watched it. I think it was on TBS or something down here. So yeah, Stefan walks
Stephen.
over, and Stefan is like,
it's not Stephen.
Yeah, I know, Taja. What's it to you, right?
And then again, these two idiots failed to meaningfully explain who they are or their relationship. Like, they just sort of passingly say, like, she lives with them. Yeah. But it's like, just explain it. Just fucking explain it, dude.
She's our friend.
Like, it makes you sound so suspicious.
And Siro is just like smoldering, right? Like, he doesn't like this guy. He's a little, I think he's a little gel.
Siro wants to fucking fight something.
Right. He's like, oh, you're Taja's friend? Oh, she's never mentioned you. And Stefan is like, oh, that's funny. She's never mentioned you guys either.
Ooh,
right?
Got him.
Which is interesting, right? Because even Taja in her life isn't like it's just showing that there really is no bond between the three of them like they assumed or thought. Because, again, for like the past 2 episodes, Kung Lao and Siro have just been like bickering and probably hate fucking each other. And just totally ignoring Taja. Just completely sidelining her. So she's out there living her life and meeting people and doing her stuff and getting involved with the city in the way that Kung Lao and Siro aren't. And
they're too involved with each other.
Because they're too involved with each other. And I feel like this is the show I want to feel like this is the show recognizing that they have not been giving Taja a lot to do.
It's not that. You're giving the show so much credit.
But I don't know that I can, like, after like doing this rewatch for this podcast and having to look at these episodes in a way that I wasn't when I was watching them just for fun. I'm like, no. This is that by accident, kind of.
Yeah, this episode needed a story. Taja may as well know other people.
Right.
Like, they wanted them to go looking, so they needed to create a life that she had. It was not on purpose, I do not think.
But I love when they're talking to Stefan and he's like, hey, she doesn't talk to me about her life and I don't talk to her about hers or about mine, and that's just the way it is. Like with that silk trader guy. And they're like, what silk trader guy?
You know, the silk trader guy.
You know, that silk merchant, Hesper. He's got a place down at the Lion's Gate. But I'm not telling you shit, so get out of here.
I'm walking here.
I just love that. They're like, hey, I'm not giving you any information. Here's the information. But I'm not giving you any information. Skedaddle, punks.
Or I'll beat you up with my big muscles.
And Siro wants to fight the dude, and it looks like that would have been a good fight.
Just rearing to go.
But Kung Lao, being like the peaceful monk, is like, no. Now's not the time.
We'll beat somebody up later. Don't even worry about it.
I'm not worried about it. I won Mortal Kombat. I'm secure in my masculinity. I know that you aren't yet, Siro.
I read the script. I know we're fighting later.
Save your energy for when you gotta fight those generic henchmen down in the mines.
The very cat-like henchman we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
That dude is fucking nuts.
So then, now they've gone, what was it? Kung Lao was going to go, he's like, I'll go ask some of the food merchants, you go check out this Hesper guy. And they reconvene at the trading post, and Siro comes in, and he's like, you're never going to fucking believe this Hesper guy. And Kung Lao cuts him off. He's like, it's okay, I don't need to know. Taja's in trouble.
Fuck Hesper. We didn't have any good ideas for the Hesper storyline, so we cut it.
Yeah. I'm upset that we don't get to find out anything about Hesper, this silk merchant, over at the Lion's Gate or whatever it was.
I mean, maybe we'll find something else. Talking is hard. Maybe we'll find something else out later, but who knows?
So Kung Lao's like, no, drop it, Siro. Taja's in trouble. Someone she bought vegetables from last night saw her walk down an alley, and it's the same alley where Shang Tsung told us the portal would be. I think she got kidnapped. I'm gonna go get her. And Siro's like, oh, I'm going with you. And he's like, no, we don't all have to die. Besides, I think I have a plan. And then Kung Lao fucks off somewhere, right? And where he fucks off to, he goes to visit his side piece.
Yeah, who is this?
Don't know. Never seen her before. Will not see her again. It's a woman who answers.
It's a woman Kung Lao knows who answers the door in
her underwear.
What I'll describe as pajamas.
She's in her underwear, and she's
like, oh shit, you caught me in my underwear. Do you want to fucking hang out or something? Yeah. And Kung Lao's like, no, I don't. I'm not horny at all right now. I'm actually here to save my friends. And she's like, are you sure?
Yeah, he's like, no. I need that thing I told you to hold on to. And what that thing is the quartz that they found in Cold Reality, the magic item that lets you teleport between realms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they brought something back from a previous episode for the first time ever, I think.
Aside from recurring characters.
Yeah, this item that he had hidden that he didn't give to Raiden to destroy. He gave it to this woman who he's apparently...
this random woman, I guess he didn't explain what it was to whoever this is.
Who he's apparently knocking boots with on the side. Which explains why he didn't want Siro to go with him.
Maybe.
There's no maybe about it, dude.
Well...
There's no maybe about it. I'm sorry. There's no maybe about it.
I know. I'm just, yeah. It's heavily implied.
Yeah, but you think he'd get Siro in on it, too. I think they were like, Oops, I Bought episode was a little too gay. Let's pull it back just a smidge. Which, fuck you, cowards.
They're absolutely cowards.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that, like, everyone's sexuality in Zhuzhen is fluid as hell.
I mean, they are in real life, so they may as well also be in Zhuzhen, am I right?
Yeah. So...
Am I right, gamers?
What's up, gamers?
It's like when you buy a new game, you get a slider at the beginning that's like, set the light level, and then below that there's a sexuality slider, and you can put that wherever the fuck you want. All
right, so Kung Lao gets the crystal, and he's leaving, and the woman's like, are you sure you don't want to bone down? And he's like, yeah, I'm sure. I got to go save some lives. Bye. And he goes to the alley, and Siro is waiting for him in the alley.
Siro does a jump scare, basically.
Yeah, and he gets, like, knocked in the face or something. I don't remember.
I don't think so. I think it's like a close call.
And then Kung Lao's like, no, you're not coming with me. I have to do this my way. And Siro, who I guess has learned some kind of a lesson over the past couple episodes, is like, well, we will do this your way, but we'll do it together, right? So maybe he's learned from the Black Dragon episode. Or maybe he's learned from the Noob Saibot episode. And they're retaining a little bit of that, right? For the first time in the entire series. Because again...
Big episode in terms of retention.
Yeah, we're calling back to magic items. We're calling back to Siro and Kung Lao shenanigans. And now... and now we're calling back to portals from other episodes. Because the portal shows up and Siro jumps right through. And Kung Lao's like, fuck! And he jumps through too. Because he's mad that Siro went also. Because Kung Lao still doesn't want to get these other people involved in shit, just like in The Essence. That's another callback, right? He hasn't...
Well, that's not a callback. That's an established character trait.
But
that is not a callback.
But you'd think he'd be getting over it at this point.
No, I don't think that's really not his vibe.
He hasn't really been given the opportunity to get over it, has he?
But like, also, is it really a thing to get over? It's like it's an inherently positive trait to not want to get other people in dangerous situations.
But it's to the point where he's not asking for help when he clearly needs help in these situations. Like Katana,
I don't think he thinks he needs the help though.
But that's
he thinks he's doing them. Like, I'm not saying it's something that he can't grow into to interpret it differently, but it's not inherently bad.
But that's the fault though. Is like if he's training these people to fight for Earth.
Is he doing
Kombat,
that? We have not seen that motherfucker do that once.
That's supposed to be the goal, and if that's the goal, is that these are going to be warriors who are defending Earthrealm in a few years, whenever the next one is. I guess you might be right, because if it's going to be like 50 years, they're going to be dead. I guess they're supposed to be training other... Who knows, man?
Nobody knows.
The show doesn't even know.
There are 3 people that hang out, and some of them fight sometimes.
Anyway, boom. Down in the mines they all are. Taja's there. She fills them in. We got the combat crew together again. It's not just the boys anymore. So now they're all sitting there, and Shang Tsung and Vorpax are on the one side, and the combat crew's on the other. And Shang Tsung's mad. He's like, "Oh, there's an extra person here. All right. Well,
oh yeah, you brought an uninvited guest to my hell dimension."
Because Kung Lao's deal was like same deal as before my life for Taja's, but now also Siro's. So Kung Lao's like, no, Siro's got to fight some people now because there's lots of warriors down here who aren't bound by the rules of the Elder Gods who can fuck you up, Kung Lao.
And
but,
so
we're gonna take care of Siro
the man
first.
that emerges to fight Siro is the most vascular fucking dude I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And not only that, he is a crazy acrobatic dude who is like jumping around with cat-like body movements and is fucking going nuts. It's absolutely wild. It's really fun to watch. This is the backflip kick I mentioned. He literally kicks Siro in the face by doing a backflip. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, he's the most generic looking dude ever. He's wearing
then he hits you with the wildest shit.
He's wearing a black pants, no shirt, and a balaclava over his head, and he's fighting with Hu Quan, which is monkey style martial arts.
Oh, it's an existing thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a Hu Quan fighter up to a certain point. And yeah, so he's using like monkey style as seen in Kung Fu Panda, and he's he's whooping Siro's ass. Like he is straight up whooping Siro's ass. Like Siro doesn't know how to fight against this guy. One thing I really love on the show is how they've been bringing in these other fighting styles. So it's not just they're bringing in like unique styles and putting them on exhibit, which is making watching the fights interesting. Because if it's all just the same sort of like what we see when Kung Lao fights later, where it's just seems kind of standard, and you get the same moves over and over again. You get like the jump, double face kick, and that kind of shit. It does get kind of boring. So I like they brought in the capoeira guy, and they have this guy doing monkey fist, and really uncomfortable to say monkey fist, but that is what it's called. So yeah, I
hadn't even thought about it until you had said anything, and I was like, oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing them bring in like other styles, because when I saw it, I was like, I recognize this, and so I had to do a little bit of research. But yeah, he is fucking beating Siro down. Siro doesn't know how to fight this guy. He's doing his backflip kicks. He's doing. It's
aesthetically fascinating to watch.
And he jumps on his back, and he's like on his shoulders almost, and like kicking him in the stomach, like his legs are wrapped around him, kicking him in the stomach, and then hitting him in the head with his arms, as if he were a monkey attacking a person. And it kind of rules. But then the dude makes the mistake of pulling out 2 swords and dropping the tactic that's been working the entire fight.
It's the same thing that happens when Taja goes, oh, I know what I'll do to the burly guard. I will do a somersault kick that puts me on the ground and in a vulnerable position for no reason.
Yeah, this guy fucks up.
And then she immediately almost loses. He does the same thing, but his is like, well, I brought 2 shiny swords.
Yeah, I'm going to use them. And then Siro like roundly whoops his ass. And that's that. Dude should have stuck to monkey fist. And then Shang Tsung is like, that was just a taste of things to come, which is an echo of the Shang Tsung line from the Mortal Kombat movie, where he says, now for a taste of things to come. Just had to get that in there.
I appreciate it.
So then what happens? Siro's kind of beat down, and Kung Lao's like, Taja, come over here and make sure Siro's okay. And Siro's like, no, I'm fine, because he's still a big, whiny baby who doesn't want to admit that he's not a tough guy. But this was all Kung Lao's plan, because then he pulls a crystal out and he's like, we're leaving, boom. But before they can use the crystal and go through the portal and get out of the mines, Taja just books it out of there. She just fucks off and she's like, I can't leave without finding my daddy. So then they don't transport, right?
Right.
Now fucking Shang Tsung has the crystal. He takes the crystal for him and he puts them in a stone cage.
He puts them in a bad, funny-looking stone cage.
Right. He magics it into existence, right? And it's just like stalagmites and stalactites, but like floor to ceiling, and they're stuck in there.
Big rock posts.
And then he's telling he sends Vorpax after Taja, and then he's like, my archenemy and the crystal, and Shang Tsung's having a good day.
Shang Tsung he got to eat all that food. He got to capture his nemesis. He had a magical jewel. He's gonna get out of the hell dimension.
Everything's
Things
coming
are
up
really,
Shang Tsung.
I was literally about to say exactly that. Great minds.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Everything. Fun fact. I first heard that phrase, watching YouTube videos from a guy who was playing Super Mario World ROM hacks on YouTube.
Okay.
And I thought that was just a saying, like everything's coming up Millhouse, just meant stuff was going well. Like I didn't clock that it was a Simpsons bit. I had seen The Simpsons at that point. Like I wasn't like a baby, but
right.
I just didn't put two and two together. So I would say it, and then people would laugh like knowingly, and I just continued to assume it was just a thing people said.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, pretty good. And then I eventually figured it out, but in my mind, it's just a thing.
On a similar note, when I said to you in the text, "No sweat, Boba Fett."
Yeah, was that from like a Weird Al song about Star Wars?
It was something that I believed I had made up until I saw it on a TV show, and then I was like, oh, I must have gotten it from this. I don't remember what show, but somebody says it on something, and it was old enough.
Did you believe that you invented the fact that sweat and fett rhyme?
I thought I had put the phrase together myself. I don't think I believed. I thought I was maybe the first person to make that expression, and then I don't know what it was. It was something old enough to have happened before I started saying that, because I've been saying it for a long time, and I was like, oh no, I just took it from that. Okay.
This is like every playground assuming that they invented like whatever variation of wall ball they play. But it's like, nah, man, every school probably did that. Like, you are not as unique as you think you are. Wow, you came up with throwing a ball against a wall and catching it. You're a fucking genius.
So Taja's running around the Cobalt Mines again, and this is where we hit the wall of the living skeletons.
Oh my god, we need to dwell on this for a second.
Yes, please.
So take the CG that you've seen throughout the program. That's the level we're at. And picture this in your mind's eye, dear listener. It's a wall made of rock, and there are a bunch of like embedded bones and like skeletons and stuff, and there's a bunch of like heads and hands sticking out that are moving and like making funny like reaching out and being like all scary and spooky. It's the dumbest, most amazing thing in the world.
It rules. So
also, how are those skeletons alive? Riddle me this.
Magic.
But why are other skeletons dead?
They're not magic. Maybe if you're immortal, your skeleton stays alive.
Wow. Truly a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
You live as a rock wall skeleton man?
Yeah, the fucking skeleton wall rules.
It's very good.
And Taja's still just like wandering around thinking her dad's going to be here somewhere. She has no clear plan or navigation.
And she has fucked up in a major way by doing this.
She really fucked up because
like,
now
they had an out. They had an out.
Yeah.
And she was like, actually, wait, hold on. I'm going to go find that guy that may or may not exist in this impossible to navigate labyrinth cave. Just stay here in this cage that you're going to get locked in. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. Like, they could have just escaped forever. But alas, we're looking for Dad. It's not going amazing.
She stumbles into this hallway of all of these bodies that are dying, like hanging from chains, right? And she walks through it, and Vorpax is on the other side, and she calls it
for some reason.
She calls it a death chamber, right? And she's like, these are the lucky ones because they'll be dead soon. They won't be stuck here anymore. And Taja's like, why are you still helping me? Are you still helping me? What's your deal? And Vorpax explains, no, Shang Tsung can't kill Kung Lao because of the rules. So you guys are still my best chance of getting out of here, or killing Shang Tsung and freeing me from him, right?
Right.
And Taja's starting to feel guilty about how she just kind of ran off and left Kung Lao and Siro just totally fucked. So she wants to go back and help them, and Vorpax is like giving us emotional whiplash because she's like, I'll help you find your dad. Oh, you feel bad now you've learned something or whatever.
I'm going to help you find your dad or not, or your dad's not here, or maybe he is, and maybe you should help your friends or don't, and maybe you're helping me or you're not, and you can trust me or you can't.
But here's directions back to Shang Tsung's chamber. She says, follow the tunnel towards the screams. Then just past the torture chamber, you'll find Shang Tsung's area.
Yeah, something about Shang Tsung's area. Like, I took a note that is just Shang Tsung's area in quotes. It's the weirdest video gameiest shit. It's NPC dialogue. Also, I don't want to gloss over that when they see the spooky skeleton in the death chamber, there's a hilarious zoom on her face again.
Oh, yeah, when she turns the one, like, rotted body around and it's, like, black and, like, a black skeleton. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So, Taja does that, but as soon as she's off screen, Shang Tsung steps in, right?
Conveniently showing up the second she's done helping Taja and then acting like he didn't notice what was happening.
Right, but we do get to see Vorpax lie to him. She straight up says, like, no, I haven't found her yet, right? So
Right.
No one else is around to witness this, so this is the first, like, thing that we've seen that makes Vorpax helping Taja believable.
Right.
And Shang Tsung's like, go summon the Emperor, do whatever you have to do, bribe the guards, I don't care. Tell him I've summoned him, it's going to be worth it. And then Shang Tsung fucks off and Vorpax says out loud to herself, I'll summon the Emperor when I'm good and ready. So she has no intentions of actually going to summon the Emperor, right? But she wants Shang Tsung to believe that she's going to. And that's the moment that I remembered, oh, that's right. Vorpax is also supposedly working for the Emperor. So she has a clear line to him, obviously, but she chooses not to use it, you know?
Yeah, like the implication being she could have gone to talk to him either about something else or done that with minimal consequence compared to what Shang Tsung expected and just opts to do neither.
Right, but instead she goes back to Shang Tsung's area, and
which we're going to call it forever now.
Taja is there and has conveniently found a pickaxe and a hammer.
It's just like Minecraft, am I right, gamers?
Just hanging out, just in the same room. Like, you'd think the first thing Shang Tsung would have done after putting them in a stone cage is like, let's get rid of all the tools in this immediate area that can
they're
break
in a mine,
stone.
Neal. It wouldn't have been that hard to find mining equipment.
No, I know, but maybe he should have used his magic to, like, put him in a fire cage or something less easily chipped away at.
Yeah, but he just loves Minecraft too much.
Well, who doesn't?
Am I right?
Stay tuned, where I'm going to make an exact replica of the entire Cobalt Mines
Stay tuned for a Minecraft Let's Play.
In Minecraft, pieced together from the map I've been drawing. We're going to have the tunnel. We're going to have the Tunnel of Screams. We're going to have the Death Chamber. We're going to have Shang Tsung's area.
All right, cool. I got a note here that just, it's a little bit later than where we are now. Like, not much, but like maybe.
It can't be much later.
And it says, Taja, now is not the fucking time for this, and I don't know what that is about either.
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay.
So
we'll
yeah.
get there.
So Taja's trying to free the boys. Siro's kind of helping from inside, I think, with one of the tools.
Yeah, and then Kung Lao, once it's sufficiently weakened, like someone loosening a jar, he just kicks it open, I think. Is it Kung Lao that kicks it open or Siro? One of them does.
Kung Lao kicks it open, but first Vorpax is like shown back up, and she's like, Taja does her best to fill them in on, like, I think she's helping me, but I'm not sure. But she doesn't like Shang Tsung, or she might. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And Vorpax is like, do you guys have a way out of here? They say no. Shang Tsung has the crystal now. Vorpax is like, okay, fuck. And she grabs Taja and yells for Shang Tsung.
She's playing all the angles still, which I appreciate.
Yeah, Shang Tsung, I got her. Get in here. So Shang Tsung shows up. That's when Kung Lao kicks the cage open, and now it's fight time. But of course, Kung Lao can't fight Shang Tsung because of the Elder God rules.
We have to fight two other dudes. And again, this fight rips. There's a lot of cool acrobatics again. like cartwheel kicks and backflip kicks and all kinds of shit. But two other things that we haven't seen a ton of, which is synchronicity. Like the two goons that he fights are like in perfect sync at times. And there's this really fun dimension of verticality, like climbing up the side and up the walls and back down and up onto ridges and shit that we don't get a lot of. But I feel like that's a great kinetic addition that makes things feel more exciting. I like that they're finding ways to mix things up. Yeah.
That was a pretty cool fight. It wasn't great. I think the monkey style fight was better. We've seen Kung Lao fight two dudes at a time.
There's always an element to the fight, which I think is cool. Like they're trying something new at some point.
They know it's the only thing we really, really care about, so they always do their best to make them entertaining. While Kung Lao's fighting the two dudes and doing the double jump kick them both in the face nonsense, Shang Tsung is just force choking Siro.
Yeah, my note also says force choking.
Yeah, I think it would have been awesome to see Siro versus Shang Tsung. That would have been cool, and that's inside the rules. It probably would have ended with a
dead Siro, but
Siro getting his head smashed and his soul sucked. But it would have been cool to get a little bit of a tease of that at least. But instead, Taja, who's been being held by Vorpax the whole time, elbows her in the face and like charges Shang Tsung, and it breaks his grasp on Siro. And they're all able to escape. And they run through and they find like a big tall room where they think that there's a way up to the surface out of the mines up there. And Taja's like, "Oh, we don't need that. I stole the quartz from Shang Tsung, right? I'm a thief. I pickpocketed him."
Yeah. He's a magical sorcerer. I'm a pickpocket.
Yeah. When I attacked him, I snatched this out of his vest.
Shirt that doesn't appear to have pockets.
Yeah.
He's keeping it between his pecs.
So boom, they use the crystal, and right as they're about to teleport out there, again, Taja is like, "I can't leave."
She's like, "Wait, I gotta go get my dad." And they're like, "Absolutely not. We're not doing this again."
Yeah. And they just grab her and they make her go through the portal, and they escape just in time, right? So now Shang Tsung's nervous. He thinks the Emperor's on his way. And Vorpax is like, "I'll go to him and I'll tell him that I misunderstood you and try to stop him from coming here so he doesn't kill us both." But we know she didn't actually tell him shit.
Yeah.
But we do get to see Shang Tsung afraid of the Emperor coming.
Right.
You know?
I don't know if he's directly afraid of the Emperor, but I think he knows that like he doesn't really have any sway. So like if he does fuck up, like there are consequences to be had.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
He says it'll be the end of Vorpax and she'll be killed and it'll be a worse fate for him, which I guess means putting him deeper in the Cobalt Mines? Like, what does it really fucking mean? Like,
I don't know.
Torturing him some more, cutting his arms off, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
All I know for sure is that then we cut to Wet Siro, baby. Wet Siro.
Wet shirtless Siro, who has just
shirtless Siro, deeply sensual Siro,
who has just had 3 baths,
just infinite baths.
Yeah.
And I have a note that straight up just says, "Wet Siro, Wet Siro." It's like the kind of thing you chant when you're pounding your fists on a desk.
Were you pounding your fist on the desk while you were watching?
Wet Siro, Wet Siro. Give the people what they want.
You know, one thing I don't think we've talked about at all is that through this entire episode, Taja had a pretty major outfit change. She was wearing essentially like a blue polo shirt.
Dressed for golf.
A collared shirt. I mean, not like polo. Certainly not a tactical polo.
Polo branded. Weird. They got the big horse guy on there.
But yeah, she had a normal shirt on, right? Which was nice. And then at
the end she has a different normal shirt on.
She had these gloves that like the leather like wound up around her like the entirety of her arm.
Yeah, some real fantasy shit.
Yeah, I dug the outfit, and I do think she wears it sometimes in the rest of the series.
It makes it even funnier that Kung Lao does not have other outfits, and Siro like only sort of does.
Siro's got 2 pairs of pants. He's got the
but
brown
they're all the
ones.
same color basically, and the shirts are just different white shirts.
He's got the brown pants and the blue pants, and then he's got the white shirt with the sleeves and the white shirt that he ripped the sleeves off of. And then now Taja's getting an outfit change too, and Kung Lao will continue to wear the same shirt and pants and boots through the entire rest of the series.
Right.
But yeah, now here at the end, Siro's coming out to talk to Taja, who is wearing the same outfit, but a pink polo shirt instead.
I thought it was purple, but sure.
It might have. It's a somewhere in
The
that
lighting influences the color.
range. Sure, I'm going faded salmon.
Sure.
So yeah, so Siro's like coming to talk to Taja, and he's sort of admitting to her that he didn't really know anything about her. He mentions her bola game and her boyfriend Stefan, but he's not doing it in like a shitty way, which I thought was an improvement, right? He was just kind of like admitting. He's like, I don't really know anything about you. I learned a lot about you today. Do you want to talk about it all? You know, he seems to me like he cares.
Yeah, he's trying to. He's trying to make up for the fact that he was being a real shitheel.
Yes.
And not directly, but in not making an effort.
Right. But he's been shown the error. He's been shown the error of his ways, and he's putting effort in, and he's not doing it in a blamey way. I don't know.
He's trying.
He's trying. And she kind of talks a little bit about her family, about how she had to come to terms with the idea that they were dead and they were gone, and now she's
got them. Well, what she says is that she had her dad, and like he was there for like 2 seconds, so that might be a slightly strong word, but what she means is like that connection is back. So like she went through a lot of emotional labor over the course of her life for potentially nothing if her family is around, and there's more mystery to unravel here now, and that's just difficult.
And then she kind of ends it all by saying that she kind of just wants it to be over, and she doesn't really want to talk about it anymore.
And then you get some good old-fashioned irony, because the second she's like, I wish this were just over, she gets mail that is just a surprise reveal of her dad's wedding ring inexplicably sent to her.
Yeah, that's the big mystery. That's the last scene of the episode.
Not their strongest cliffhanger to date.
Ciro's like, this package came while you were in the bath. And she opens it up and she says, oh my God, it's my dad's wedding ring. Credits.
Roll credits.
Yep. That's it.
I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, I don't know if I could identify any of my parents' wedding rings, like, on site. So I'm curious how she knows that.
Probably has his name on it.
It says Jeff.
Jeff Cage.
Jage. J. Cage. Jage.
Yeah.
Bleh, bleh, bleh.
It says Jeff Cage on it. What's Johnny Cage's real name? It's canon that he has a real last name. That's not Cage.
Curtis Stryker.
Why am I trying to find this on IMDb?
Because it's the actor's name.
Jonathan Carlton. That's Johnny Cage's real name. So
yeah,
this is that. So the ring probably says Carlton on it. This is Taja Carlton from here on out. Taja Carlton, Siro Blade,
Kung Lao.
Those are the combat. That's
Ray
the combat
Den.
crew. Raymond Den.
Everybody loves Raymond. Everybody loves Raiden. Definitely, absolutely, in no way the first person to say that sentence.
That's the episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was certainly better than last week. But that was a pretty low bar, all things considered. Some of it felt like, I kind of liked the Kung Lao Siro dynamic when they were like looking around and like there was some fun conversation to be had. The strength of it is really Taja's given stuff to do, and we're learning more about Taja and Vorpax, notably. That's the strength of the episode. And this feels like obviously a lot more foundation laying, but there's a lot of enjoyment to be found in the stuff in the mines, I think. Yeah.
I thought this was a good one. I'm here for the Vorpax development. I'm here for us learning a little bit more about her, that she's not just like like some of the other ladies that we've seen that have been on the bad side. She's not Kiri, who is just like...
She's an actual character.
Yeah, it's not Omijis, who...
They're trying.
But Vorpax, she's a mystery still, and we're getting little pieces of the mystery, And they set her up to be a mystery, so it's nice to start getting some of these character traits colored in,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's exciting that there's still more to be found, and I'm looking forward to seeing like where some of this ends up. I think I'm most interested in Vorpax's backstory at this point, if I had to do it like a pick one. But I like that I'm genuinely enthralled beyond watching it out of obligation.
Yeah. Well, you're going to learn a lot about Vorpax in the episodes that are coming up. She does have a big part in the series. I'm also glad to see Shang Tsung as the villain again, as opposed to Shang Tsung throwing a dude at Kung Lao and just kind of kicking back and hoping it works out, and it doesn't. It's nice to see.
His feet up.
And I don't know, he got close to victory, right? And honestly, like, the only reason he didn't get it is because of Vorpax. Like, she was the one who foiled Shang Tsung's plan in this at the end, right? Because once Taja fucked off before they could escape, he had everything. He had Kung Lao. He had the crystal. For all he knew, the Emperor was coming.
He could have just... What he should have done is get the crystal and be like, I'm fucking out of here. Like, he could have just left.
He could have, but I do think that there's...
What does he stand to gain? Like, I don't think he has the leverage he thinks he has to get, like, power or position out of the Emperor. Jesus. So
what I would have done if I had been in Shang Tsung's position is I would have kept the crystal hidden, because that's your escape hatch, right? And I still would have come and presented Kung Lao to the Emperor, because that would take Kung Lao out of the picture, and you're not violating the Elder God's rules, so no bad shit will happen to you, right? And then if the Emperor decided to turn on Shang Tsung, you use the crystal to fuck off. If the Emperor doesn't and he gives you what you want, you still got the crystal in your back pocket for a rainy day, you know? Because if he had just taken the crystal and poofed out of there, none of his problems are solved. He's just on the lam. And you ain't going to get any power if you're just always running, right? So that's my thinking. That's, if I put myself in my Shang shoes, that must have been what his thought process was.
I would believe that, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't counting on Vorpax backstabbing absolutely everyone. And constantly. The
backstab king.
Yeah, that's a Undying dream. Now we know that Taja's dad is hanging out around there somewhere in the Cobalt Mines. Too bad we're never going to follow up that plot thread again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's just gone now?
I hate to... I both love and hate giving you this news every single time.
So, wait, why do they spend time setting things up?
Because they were still planning on having a second season, I think.
But, like, some of this could have come back in the first season. Some of it could have.
And I could be remembering wrong. These plots could show up again. I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
Oh my god.
And the reason I don't think so also is because I think they stumbled onto some more important things for the series. Like in next week's episode, episode 9, Quan Chi.
Never heard of him.
Well, Quan Chi is a necromancer who was created for the Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm cartoon series and then added in as the secondary antagonist of Mortal Kombat 4 and Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero.
Never heard of him. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's a little bit of trivia about Quan Chi, is that he premiered in the cartoon series. That is the first appearance of Quan Chi in anything Mortal Kombat. Was in the 1997 Defenders of the Realm cartoon series.
Arguably the best piece of Mortal Kombat fiction.
But yeah, next week we're finally going to meet Quan Chi, and I will tell you right now that Quan Chi appears in multiple episodes in this series. He's not
a thread they decide to keep up with. Wait, is every other character we've met so far a one-off?
No. I'm just being I'm just being clear that Quan Chi is not a one-off. Yeah, he's going to show up.
Unholy alliance.
We're gonna get a third between Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, and Quan Chi. We will now have 3 antagonists that reappear quite a bit. And I'm just gonna tell you now, the Quan Chi makeup is fucking off the hook, dude. It is really, really good. It is the best costuming on this show, hands down.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it rules. So, but for now, I think it's time to call it quits. So maybe we should activate this quartz and teleport out of the realm. What do you think?
I think that's great, but first we should say the magic activation phrase, which is our plugs. Convenient. It's weird that this is an ancient mystical gem, and it's activated by our plugs. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the shout out to whoever made that for knowing a good podcast when they hear it. Oh, I guess I go first, huh? Typically with the plugs.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I do podcasts. Have you heard of these? Pretty good at it. Remember when to plug most of the time. And if you want to hear me forget to do shit on a different podcast, you can listen to They Made Another One, which is a show I do with our friend Liam, where we talk about old or forgotten, maligned, or sometimes good, just sequels, reboots, and remakes, maybe ones that don't get a ton of love. You can find us on Twitter at They Made Another, and on all your podcast services as They Made Another One. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Mr. Corey Price. And rate and review this show under podcast service of choice.
Yeah, we are on Apple Podcasts now. Finally.
And all other services of value. If we're not on it, it means it's bad.
Subscribe, rate, review, tweet about it.
Send us physical mail.
Shout out to Paul.
Shout out to Paul.
Hope you're still listening.
Hope we didn't lose Paul.
Shout out to Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, Carissa, if you're hearing this at work, how's it going?
I don't have anybody else to shout out by name, I don't think. Nobody came to mind, so. Shout out to... Yeah, I don't know. That's it.
This is a disaster.
Shout out to Lance Stroll, who might be having a bad day, but you did all right, buddy.
Yes. Keep the dream alive, man. Have that undying dream.
I mean, his dad's a billionaire. He's going to be fine, but like he's young and it probably sucks to lead a race for the first time and not win because he was looking really good for a while. So, I mean, you know.
Maybe he had like a Paul Walker moment in the first Fast and the Furious where he was like, dude, I almost had you.
Well, the thing is, by the end of the race, he did not almost have it. He nearly didn't even score points.
And you can find me on...
Keep going.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Final Neal, Neal. I have a retro gaming Instagram account at A Mess of Games. Go check that out. Posted some more Mortal Kombat shit. I try to post Mortal Kombat stuff every Monday, but I don't do it every Monday. Sometimes you gotta change it up a little bit. And yeah, subscribe to the podcast. Follow the podcast on Twitter at MK Podquest. And
good tweets over there, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, there's pretty good tweets over there. At least once a week, there's something tweeted out.
At least once, yeah.
And it's usually about the new episode dropping. I'm going to activate this quartz and get the fuck out of here. And we'll be back next week to talk about Mortal Kombat Conquest, Episode 9, Quan Chi. I'm going to go watch some Raven.
Yeah, let me hear it.
What a perfect TV series opening.
It's extremely good. I showed it to Casey.